The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
A wonderful way to start your day. More interviews, more fun. This is Sandy Kastel.
Welcome. I've got with me today Ralph Stalter, and I hope I said that correctly.
You did. Thank you.
And Ralph, you have so many things that you do. I can't even put a one tag on you, except that it's all about the arts and theater, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Pretty much covers it.
And you moved to Las Vegas when? A few years back?
7 years ago, actually.
Yeah.
We came here from New York City, and I really didn't get involved with the arts locally till probably about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then more seriously involved in 2014 when I was laid off from my job, and I had always planned to go back into the arts when I retired anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of was just a couple years before I expected. So.
Well, and also your wife is in the arts.
Yes, although she has a regular job, she's soon to retire from.
A regular job,
Yeah,
as
right.
opposed to an arts job. Okay.
Right. Well, that's the way we used to talk about it. We joke with everybody who in the arts. What do you do for regular work? Because
but she's not a waitress. Come on,
No. So she, we met in the theater actually
Right.
many years ago, and she's hoping to retire from her regular job, her travel consulting job next
Mm-hmm.
year, and do more fun and retiring things. Not necessarily work with me in the arts, because I'm never home anymore.
I know. Every time I see you on Facebook and all these other things, LinkedIn, and always communicating about different events that are going on. You also do things with the with charities,
Right.
nonprofits, I should
Right.
say, and you help them get whatever they need to do for their funding,
Mhm.
right? And we're going to
Yeah.
get you involved with WIMA very shortly.
Right.
I know
Yeah.
we've talked about it a little bit, but we haven't really delved in yet.
Yeah.
So let's start with how it all started.
Okay.
Okay. Back
Oh, boy.
when you were just
Yeah,
a little boy. No.
Well, it's funny. I played the troll in three Billy Goats Gruff in elementary school.
Yes.
And I'd been studying piano in elementary school, a little bit. And then I hid out in the choir loft one day.
Oh.
I was in a Catholic school, and we had to go to Mass every day.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to go to Mass that day. So I took a left and went in this door, and my piano teacher's sitting at the organ, and she goes, "Oh, are you here to sing?" There was nobody else in the room. And I said, well, okay, sure. And I started singing, which was really how I got into the arts in the first place. And then I did that, and I still do that when I can.
You never sing for me.
Well, I know, and my wife says the same thing.
Yeah.
I used to sing to her quite a bit when I was a performer, but so I got into that, and in high school did a lot of the shows. I had a great director there, and he also ran the Glee Club, so I sang in high school. And auditioned for graduate school after undergraduate school. I auditioned for a few of the programs in professional theater and got into Boston University for that 2-year graduate program as an actor. I mean, I'm a trained actor.
No,
And
was it the conservatory there? Is it?
No, Boston Conservatory has a program as well now, I think.
Okay.
But it was Boston University School of Theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I worked with some incredible directors there from the regional theaters, primarily the Arena Stage in Washington. And the directors I worked with there just really helped me to transition from what was casual, theater to really a professional approach to the work. And when I got out, I spent 2 years as an actor in Manchester, New Hampshire, where I met my wife. And the theater we were in needed a new executive director. And I knew some board members. Yeah, it was one of those things.
That was the beginning of the end right there for you as an actor.
At the wrong time, yeah. So and as I was saying, I think I've said to you before, they offered me a regular paycheck with benefits, which was the first thing. And then I I was pretty organized, and I knew it was a fairly small and well-organized operation, so I thought, what the heck.
Yeah.
So 20 years later, I was still doing producing and managing, and I had a period in there where I was doing technology training I just needed to get out of the arts and do some other stuff. So I was in the corporate world for a while.
Wow.
And that's kind of what brought me here. And then when they laid me off, I got back into the arts here as a nonprofit performing arts consultant, and I cover quite a few things that most nonprofits have to deal with. So,
okay, so you got here, and why Las Vegas? First of all, why from New York? I mean, New York is
Well,
one of the epicenters of entertainment. Of course, so is Las Vegas, but in a different way. Not theater as much,
Yeah.
It's more of the performers that come here and perform that are, artists and stuff. But we've tried to develop more of the theater here, and now we do have it on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, it's odd. I wasn't the reason we came. My wife has a cousin who lived here, and we visit all the time. And we enjoyed our time out here. And she had a number of family in California that we'd visit. And we needed to buy some property. And her cousin's in real estate, so we bought a house. And,
well, between New York and L.A. and Vegas, I think Las Vegas was the most reasonable choice, right?
Yes,
for real
right.
estate. Yeah.
That's right. At the time,
Right.
it was, and that's why we were just concerned that we didn't necessarily have any equity anywhere, and we were renting in New York, and we had renters here. And when those two leases came up together, we had decided we'd move here,
Right.
if and when that happened. So we did that 7 years ago. And I was lucky enough to get a job 2 days before the moving trucks showed up. I got a job here. And that was in the technology training side still. But I met some folks in town, and of course met you over those past couple of years too, and just got more involved with the arts, and kind of that's why I'm here. And, there's a wealth of stuff to do in town. It's a great town for that.
Yeah, we actually met on Facebook.
Yeah, that's right.
The first,
That's right.
first time, and you reached out to me, and then we got together, and ever since then we've been doing things together. So,
That's right. That's right.
so let's talk a little bit about the local community theater that you're involved with, and how involved you are with that, and helping to promote that.
Okay, the local community theaters are. There's a number of them that are producing very exciting and challenging work. Plays that over the past 10 years have been done in some of the major cities, but haven't really made it to this market. That are really demanding theater pieces. And I happen to get involved with one of the artistic directors at the Asylum Theater, which focused on developing new plays and working with playwrights from all over the world. And Sarah O'Connell is that artistic director. And when a couple of years ago, I think it's probably 2 years ago now, she decided to start this online reviewing process where we would send reviewers in to see the shows and just write articles. I mean, I'm not a critic.
I'm not. I was still waiting for my first call. They haven't called me yet to do it.
What to be a critic or to?
Well, yeah, I already went to the thing. I went to the meeting.
That's
and I got the orientation.
Yes.
So I'm waiting for my first email that says,
That's
"Sandy,
right.
come and see a piece."
That's right. So what you're referring to is this the latest piece of what Sarah and I are involved in is the Vegas Valley Theater Awards.
Awards, yes.
And we inherited that last February from Jacob Coakley, who had started about, it's 4 years ago now. And it's a local awards program, so throughout the theater season, adjudicators, which is what you were talking about, go to see plays, and basically then on a scale of 1 to 10, they rank the production, and they rate the performers. And at the end of the year, we do an awards program like the Oscars or the Emmys.
Which was wonderful this year.
Yeah,
I loved being part of it. Thank you for asking me to
welcome.
be one
You're
of the
welcome.
participants in that. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, this year was a bigger deal, I think, than we've had the past couple years, and we just had to scramble because it got kind of, I don't want to say it was dumped on us in February, but it was given to us.
I think we can find a clip on that online, right?
Oh, right.
Something about the awards.
Yeah, that's possible.
So let's do this. Let's take a quick little break, and then we'll have John search for something that he can find that he can show about the awards, because I know there's photos all over the internet about it, and there's probably even some little clips, right? Okay, great. So we're going to take a little break for our sponsors, and I'll be right back with Ralph Stalter. Okay. Hi, I'm Sandy Kastel, the founder of WIMA. What is WIMA? WIMA is Women in Music and Arts, empowering artists of all ages through education, mentoring, and scholarships. You can find out more about us at wimafoundation.org. Welcome back to the Sandy Kastel Show. I'm here with Ralph Stalter, and we just saw a little clip about the Las Vegas Valley Awards, right?
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Las Vegas Valley Awards.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had so much fun being part of that, and through that, I actually saw some people I hadn't seen in a long time, and also met a lot of new people that are involved in the local theater. And I have to really say, I've been a little remiss in being involved in it, and I guess because this last few years I've been caught up in doing so many of the TV shows and the radio shows and stuff, but it was so wonderful to see the clips and the numbers that they did, you know, because it was what was it, 2 hours or something? It was pretty long.
Yeah, it was longer than we expected.
But it went like this. It wasn't boring. It wasn't like you're sitting there going, when is this thing ever going to end? It was more like, oh my God, what's next? What's next? And the talent that we have locally here, and I feel like we really, really, really need to amp this up this year. You know, coming up, and to continue to really amp this up a lot more, because we've really got a great theater community now. That has been developed over the past few years, and probably a lot since you've been here and been instrumental in doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's true that there are a number of those companies, the smaller companies, that are doing this work. Part of the biggest problem here is having space to do it in. And I think, well, you and I met talking about that idea that we're still trying to figure out how to make work, where we get more
that deal that we can't talk about that we've been working on for a while, but we'll be telling you more about it soon.
But we need more venues for those folks, because there's just not enough spaces, and then time within the few spaces that exist for all the people who want to produce theater to make it work.
The theaters that we do have, how many are there? Do you have a count on how many little theaters there are here in town?
Well,
is it 14 or something like that?
They're probably somewhere around between 10 and 15 that produce something regularly.
Okay.
The way the Valley Awards used to be set up, to be included, you had to produce at a minimum of 6 performances
a year,
which is of a production.
I'm sorry, 6 performances of one production, in order to be reviewed.
Right.
But how many are they putting on throughout the year? Even?
Well, some of the theater companies are putting on a regular season of as many as 5 or 6 plays.
That's amazing.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
When you think of it. And the acting talent in town, we have such a large pool of actors and designers and directors, but they don't often get to work in that season, you know, even with those many theaters producing. So there's plenty of room for more production, and there's certainly a large enough talent pool to support that. And so we'll, you know, as we grow, and that's one of the reasons that the Valley Awards are helping to bring these companies to people's attention and to build audiences and donor bases, because they need to sustain themselves as nonprofits. That's a hard job. You can't do that on ticket sales alone. And
no.
Usually it's easily a 50-50 earned revenue at the box office versus contributed revenue. You know, sometimes it's even more contributed revenue than earned revenue.
When you say contributed, that means donated?
Yeah, donated on any level. Even volunteer services or business services that are contributed can go against the to make the budget balance for these folks. So.
And you've brought in also on some of these productions, you bring some of the in equity players, right?
Yes, the one company in town that has an equity agreement with Actors Equity, which is the Actors Union, is Nevada Conservatory Theater, because they are as a conservatory program, and the relationship with the university allows them to hire guest artists. So the whole company may not be union actors at a given time, but they can have 1 or 2 members that are on an equity contract.
Okay.
So that allows them to bring in a different pool of actors, although there's plenty of equity actors in town too.
That live here?
Yeah.
I didn't get my equity. I should have. You know, I had a couple of opportunities to get my, to join equity, and I just never did it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why. I didn't,
I never, when I was acting, those 2 years I was acting, I was not a union actor either. The company I was working with was not an equity company, and but we did a regular 6-play season over the two years I was with them, and then we had a Shakespeare company that did 2 plays a year, and we had a summer musical theater that did 3 plays. So I was employed year-round for those 2 years, and it was a regular paycheck. It didn't have to be union.
You know, we have the theater that goes on out at the Bonnie Springs.
Oh yeah.
The Bonnie Springs Ranch. Is that what it's called? Or Spring?
Is it Spring Mountain Ranch?
Spring Mountain Ranch out there.
Super Summer Theater.
Super
right.
Summer Theater.
Oh yeah.
And my girlfriend Dolly Coulter has been involved in a lot of those
yeah.
productions over the years as either a musical producer or producer, or as one of the actors or performers. And I ran into a lot of those people there that were at that event too. They do a lot.
They do. That operation's been running for, is this
long
their 42nd year or something?
42nd year.
Yeah, I think it's in the 40s now.
Wow. But it's just during the summer though?
Right.
Right, because of the weather.
May through September. So they usually do 4 full productions, one each month. And in May they kick it off with kind of a smaller review or that kind of a program.
Right.
But you go out in the park. You can sit on the ground or sit in chairs or bring your own chairs, and picnic.
Bring lunch
right before,
or dinner.
It's just great.
Yeah. Bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Some bread.
It's a lot of fun. Right. Yeah, and they're doing very well because they got a large grant from the Reynolds Foundation matching that was matched. I think $500,000.
Wow.
That was matched to help improve the facilities, the sound system,
that was just a couple years ago, right? That they were. Was it?
They matched it. I think they got the grant 2 seasons ago.
Okay.
And last summer they actually finished their portion of matching.
That's
the grant.
great.
Yeah, it's so now they're starting to make the improvements, and that's always a lot of fun to go to.
Right.
So.
Okay, so we've got the different theaters.
Right.
Now let's talk a little bit about the charities or the nonprofits.
Okay. Well, the nonprofits that I've been able to work with are actually one of the first ones I got involved with, still theater, but the Huntridge Foundation, which is working on preserving the Huntridge Theater, which is a historic facility.
That's been going on for a long time.
Repair. I mean, it could literally fall down all by itself. Yeah, it's not. It's just been sitting there, not used for years. And I think there are some openings in the building, and it's not like it's totally secured. There's a security fence around the property. But that neighborhood association and the Huntridge Foundation had been working to try and preserve the facility and get it back open. And so I worked with them for a while because I actually had done a couple of historic preservation projects in the theaters I'd worked in. The first one I was mentioning, where I went from an actor to an administrator.
Right.
We did some historic preservation there, just on the heating and ventilation systems initially. But that's historic preservation. I come from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's hard to live in that town and not respect historic preservation because they don't tend to tear things down.
Not like us.
Well, I'm glad you said it because that was one of the things that I just didn't understand here when there's arts organizations and other nonprofit organizations who need space for offices and for the services they provide, and there's empty spaces in casinos that may be being torn down or could be rehabilitated for some other use, or things like that.
Yeah, hotels are a different story though. I mean they have had to evolve with the time so that they can attract people that are visitors from around the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I think in that respect it's a lot different than other cities such as Philadelphia or New York and stuff, because they all had those older buildings, but they were more business buildings. It wasn't. You know what I mean?
True.
These are all entertainment buildings. I think the hotels.
Yeah.
It was for entertainment, and I think at some point, I think Steve Wynn probably started a lot of. Was instrumental in starting some of that.
Yeah.
But I do agree there are spaces here, probably in buildings that we could be utilizing that could be donated to some of these organizations that could use the space.
Yeah.
The airport provides spaces for meetings and things. Yes, you should check that out sometimes because I've been there. When I was with the NSA meetings all the time, we would do meetings out there, and they have large facilities. So there probably are buildings, and the Nevada Power. Nevada Power offers space, I think.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And
for nonprofits
I'm
to
trying
do
to
things.
think. Northern Trust, the bank. There's a bank. They're based in Summerlin, I think, and they will offer a meeting room to nonprofits when it's available. That sort of thing.
You know, we should talk a little bit with you real estate community. Actually, you know, that is an area that we could pursue a little bit. Maybe I could help with that.
Sure.
Okay, so finding space for the nonprofits to actually do their rehearsals, and they don't need a lot of space for some of the stuff.
No.
I mean, you know, they don't always need, you know, some place to sing and dance.
Right.
It's more about just coming together and having a space to rehearse.
Yeah, and sometimes too, there are some of them that need office space, although that's becoming less and less an issue because we can do things virtually, you know, from our homes.
Virtual
when it comes
offices,
to the
right.
administrative stuff.
So we should reach out. In fact,
Okay.
all the businesses that are watching right now, if you would like to offer up any of your space for any of the nonprofits in the arts that we're talking about now, the theater and the arts programs, please contact us. You can go to the website. You can go to the Facebook page, the Sandy Kastel Show on Facebook, and just send me an email and send me a note, and we'll get you over to Ralph. And also, you probably have a Facebook page that you can tell them about.
I do. Gee whiz. Yeah, if you
Which one?
Well, I really only have one. Ralph Stalter is the Facebook page. You can find me there.
Is that your
pretty much.
personal one, though, or your business?
Well, that's kind of where it goes, where most everything goes.
Okay.
And I filter through that and, you know, share things through there. It's just easier to do.
Okay. And also, you're on LinkedIn.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
you can find Ralph on LinkedIn. Go and, you know, find him there.
Yep.
And also on Facebook.
Yeah, those are the two that
main
I've been using
contacts.
for a while.
Right.
And are easiest to find me. So.
And I have to tell you, you know, LinkedIn is really a good resource for finding things for business.
Yeah.
I was approached by somebody, you know, from around the world, as we know. We've had discussions about with them.
Yeah.
And so LinkedIn is a very good place for people to be if they're in business, and even as an artist, as an actor, I imagine, right, to let people know.
Yeah, there are a lot of actors and arts organizations that have not only personal pages, like that would work for an actor, but the corporate pages you can build on LinkedIn too for your business.
Okay.
A lot of people use those and have found that to be very useful.
Yeah.
For commercially and in nonprofits.
Right.
Too. So.
Well, listen, let's take a quick little break here. I want to see if we can find something maybe on the Summer Theater out there.
Okay, sure.
You know, do a little plug for them.
Okay.
John, hi, John. And we'll see if we can find something on them. We'll be right back after a message from our sponsors, and I'm here with Ralph Stalter today. We're talking about the theater and how he came out here and just about the arts here in Las Vegas.
Retrospects is a purveyor, if you will, of historical eyewear. Retrospects is located on the second floor, right across from the chandelier bar. So when you look at our store from the outside, it looks like there isn't much going on in here. And then you open the drawers. We actually carry authentic pieces from the late 1890s to the 1990s. We have almost 3,000 pieces in here. It's like a treasure trove reveal. We do have a collection of new glasses that we have reproduced ourselves. It's called the Cuthbert and Chen collection. The safe is our jewel. It's our baby. We love it. It's from 1903. It weighs as much as a car. It's solid steel. We use the safe to hold our most precious pieces, our museum collection, if you will. People come in to find glasses that are not something they're going to find everywhere else. Not something all their friends are wearing, and something that they can tell that story. We sell stories as much as we sell glasses. We have pieces that we can associate with very famous people from history, movies, special events that happened in the past. Some of the favorites are the Ray-Ban shooter that Johnny Depp wore in Fear and Loathing of Las Vegas, the beautiful frame France Parisian plastic aviator worn by Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. Retrospecs is not just about glasses, it's about the experience, it's about how these glasses make you feel. We are a full-service optical shop, somewhere where guests can come to get repairs, restoration, can put their prescription in, can get them a quick pair of sunglasses for the pool, and can give them a really great, just fun experience.
Are you looking for investment properties here in Las Vegas? Hi, I'm Sandy Kastel. I can help you find those choice properties for your portfolio. Call me at 702-348-5707. I'm Sandy Kastel. Welcome back to the Sandy Kastel Show. That was a little clip about the Super Summer Theater and also I think some of the newer projects that they've got going on. So, Ralph, I want to focus a little bit on what's new. You just got a new title. You're on so many different boards. Tell us about that, because I know it's long and I'm not going to try to say it.
It's what I've just become. I've just been put on the roster for what's called the Nevada Circuit Riders roster, which is a part of the Nevada Arts Council. And the Circuit Riders consultants have skill sets that most nonprofit arts organizations need, whether it's fundraising or board development or operational training or recruiting of board members, training of board members, financial management, all those things that most regular businesses have to deal with. Nonprofits have so little staff to do those sorts of things that the Arts Council provides a roster of folks who have skills in those areas, and you apply to the Arts Council for funds to hire us to help with the project. So, so it's kind of it's a stamp of approval of a certain number of professionals in the arts, and covers most of the administrative side of things. We're not directors. We're not producers. Although I suppose if you were producing a theatrical production or you wanted to run some sort of festival, that several of us could help you organize that festival and make it work.
Okay.
But not from the artistic side as much as from the administrative side.
Administrative side.
Yeah. So that's really new. I've just been appointed in September, and we're still trying to get things going for the season, because that's when the funding starts for them and for a lot of the arts organizations.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so now let's talk about mentoring.
Okay, sure.
Because as a young student that was starting out in acting, we'll go back there.
Okay.
I'm sure you had some mentors along the way.
Oh, yeah.
And then as you got into the business side of it, you probably ran across some mentors here and there.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a constant thing. And then also now you're probably turning around and mentoring others.
Right.
So let's just talk about the whole mentoring thing, because as you know, WIMA, Women in Music and Arts, empowering artists of all ages through education, mentoring, and scholarships. It's a very important aspect of the arts and of any business, really.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about mentoring and how you feel it's impacted your life.
Okay. Well, again, in moving from an actor, even when I was an actor, the folks that I worked with at Boston University, who then actually got me involved with the Williamstown Theater Festival as an apprentice, as an acting apprentice. I worked with Frank Langella and Blythe Danner and Mildred Dunnick, who's no longer with us, a number of actors and directors who again were professional performers, who took us under their wing for that summer, and we had classes with them. We as performers, we tended to be able to do a little more on the performing end than on the main stage. Although I was lucky enough to get cast in quite a few of the main stage productions in a very minor role, but still, when you work on stage with professionals like that, it's a whole different experience.
Right.
So then when I transitioned into the administrative side, I took a lot of classes, and went to a lot of local arts organizations, seminars and workshops, and in-board development, and the things I learned on the job, I was learning on the job, but I really couldn't speak the language. There's a certain language, and that's one of the things that arts administrators, one of the gaps they fill between the artistic directors, who tend to have an artistic perspective on their programs and what their missions are and visions are, to the funders, who are corporate people who don't speak artistic, theater stuff. So you have to make that, you have to be able to translate that and make sense on a business level. Showing everything from return on investment to, budgeting that makes sense, as we were talking about the unearned revenue versus earned revenue, because the arts can never make it at the box office. They non-profit arts.
Right.
Commercial theater is different. They have to make it because they have investors.
Yes.
But non-profits don't work that way. So I got a lot of mentoring from folks who were producing, even commercial producers, some of whom I went to school with, who ended up on the commercial side, really helped me to understand how to, run a nonprofit better. And what I've been doing, trying to do in the course of my senior career as an arts administrator, is to give some of that back to young people, whether they're in a college program studying that, theater management or arts administration, or just counseling. Even I volunteer as a counselor for my alma maters to help students decide on what career path to take, because they think they want to be in the theater, but they, what they know is their local theater operation, and they've never been out there as a business person. They've never even learned how to audition and build a resume, and what that takes, and what kind of work that is. That's a large part of the business for an actor when they first get out of school. It's a terrible transition.
I'm still trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, it's like, most schools don't teach you how to do that.
No, we kind of learned it, but we don't really. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but on the administrative side, unless you've been through, I fell into it. I had no prior training other than my personal experience in balancing a checkbook and, being organized and things I did myself. But that sort of thing, it can help a young person decide, what the next step is, even if they don't end up going into that as a career path long term. Mentoring can help get them over some bumps, that they run into, or at least make them aware of the bumps they're going to run into. And being there as a resource along the road. I don't ever let my mentees go. They become part of the family, and it's like anything in the theater. When you make a connection in the theater and the arts, you generally have a friend for life.
That's right. That's right.
Which is one of the great things about it.
So, are there any particular classes or workshops that go on through any of the organizations that you're working with, or that you're teaching to newcomers or young artists that want to learn more about the business aspects of the business? Well,
the UNLV and I believe CSN may have courses in nonprofit management.
Okay.
That are actually in the adult education program, which I believe are at no cost, because you're not going for a certification or a degree. You can, again, I think.
Well, continuing education, or you're talking about?
I don't know whether it comes. I get their brochure all the time.
Okay.
That big red brochure for UNLV specifically.
Okay.
And I think it's under continuing ed.
Yeah,
continuing ed. You're right.
Continuing
I may have
ed,
said
right.
adult education, but I think
well,
it's continuing
it might be
ed.
under adult education too, but
Yeah.
I know they do have classes under continuing ed.
Yeah.
So have you taught at some of those, or been?
No, locally
Spoken?
I haven't. Although I've
Okay.
considered that. Every time I do, I get pulled into another program that kind
Because you have a lot of time on your hands, don't you?
Sure. I hardly ever say no anymore, which is part of my problem. But
I get myself in trouble, when somebody
Yeah.
asks me a question. I said, I don't know, let me check on that. Or I never say no,
Right.
but it's let me see,
Yeah.
let me find out, and then so you can end up doing a lot of things. And you do
Yeah.
have to kind of sift through it.
You do.
And as an artist, you have to focus,
yeah. Yeah.
kind of like I do. No, I think I focus at different times on different things too. One of the things that I've experienced, and I'll just ask you this,
Sure.
as an artist, when we do talk with people about things that we've done throughout our lives, they say, "Oh my God, you've done all these things," and you're like, "Yeah, but I didn't do it all in one day.
Right.
I mean, I don't do these things today, every day, or just in this year. These are things that have come over a lifetime."
Right.
And we've had a lot of years behind us now that we could
Yeah.
say, even though we're still really young, okay, because we are still young. Even when I'm 80 or 90, I'll still be young. But the bottom line is, I remember a long time ago, they say, what is that, jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
However, as an artist and as an actor,
Yeah.
I also remember reading from other actors who have been acting for a long time that life experience is one of the most important things that people can get when they are an actor and a performer, because if they're going to be playing different roles as a young child, a young child actor, obviously you can only play certain things because you only have that experience. But as you grow, there's a lot of actors, you see them doing totally different roles. They'll go and study something. They'll go and work, follow doctors if they're going to be a doctor. They'll go work if they're going to be a rodeo, roper or whatever. They've got to go out and they've got to actually learn that skill to be able to do it. So they end up learning a lot of techniques, a lot of things about specific roles. So how do you find that yourself? I mean, I know you've been out of acting for a while,
Okay.
but you're still around it and you see it. But even yourself, you've taken on so many different hats. Like you said, you're doing the nonprofits, you're doing the theater, you're doing the guild, you're doing this, you're doing all these different things. It's still got to be a little bit confusing sometimes.
It is.
And daunting, I guess, is the word. Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I wrote a piece about this recently where I started off by remembering, of course, I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and being the oldest early on in my life, I think I learned. That's where I learned organization and structure from my mom and dad, and herding cats, and that that facility I think I learned early on. But also, my parents urged me to try a number of things, and I started off in biology pre-med to follow my dad. He was a doctor, and I thought, well, that'd be cool. And then I ran into organic chemistry and calculus, and I decided that wasn't for me.
Oh my gosh, that'd be over my head.
Oh my goodness, it was just like I was awful at that. But then I got into English. I kind of went back into English and literature and got involved in some programs that took me to the extracurricular aspects of undergraduate school, and they had a theater organization, not a professional program. And so I'd been singing and I'd been performing, so I did that. And I don't know that I've ever been one to shy away from a challenge like that transition from acting to administration. It was something new and something I felt I could do, and I knew I could learn as I went along. And when it comes to my mentoring, too, back to that, I always told actors and young people who thought they wanted to go into the theater, well, just do it. Do everything that comes along. And
just do it. I think that's a tagline for somebody.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it probably
Nike.
is. But it's one of those things where, as a performer, like you say, your life experiences are going to be part of that as you develop. as an actor, but the roles you're cast in and the opportunities that you can take advantage of, you just don't know when they're going to come along. So I tried everything, you know, we had, and I lucked into it. The fact that I was in an ensemble that did 6 plays, and then the Shakespeare Company was based in the same facility, and the musical theater company was there, and it was just like, wow, I had all this exposure in real theater performing in the 2 years I was there, and the same happened in the administrative stuff. So I always tell young people, and I keep focusing on the young people because they tend to be the people who have the most questions. And I just tell them, just do it. You know, play an instrument, learn what it is to be a part of an ensemble. Yeah.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
You don't like it.
That's right. That's right. Or you fail. I mean, the thing about was it Edison who's or one of the
oh, you're going to talk about the light
guys.
Yeah. The light bulb, it's been, you know, it took him 900 times, or was it 9,000?
Right.
No. But you have to, and all successful people have failed in their lives. The other thing is you see some people will reach out and try different roles. Some people kind of get typecast. You know, I remember very well, I saw Vincent Price a long time ago. I took my mom to see him, and he said, I wanted to be a romantic guy.
Yeah.
He said, so he did one movie that, you know, and they said, no. Yep. It just didn't suit him. They wanted he had to play a bad guy. You know, it was his look. You know, and so sometimes a person will get cast into these roles. And I remember Brad Pitt when he was very young. He said, "I really don't want to play all the pretty boy roles. I want to do something different." And he actually, you know, went out of a comfort that could have become a comfort zone and stayed there and only playing himself, basically. You know. Yeah. So you see that as actors, but also as people. I think we branch out and we learn more. We bring more. I have a thing, you know, when I talk about my life has been a series of detours, and everything that I've done has led me to where I am today with you. Yeah. Ralph, I know we're running out of time, and I'm so sorry, but it's amazing how it goes so quickly. Yeah. What is the one piece of advice that you would tell somebody starting out? Number one piece of advice.
Well, it's really just, you know, take any opportunities that come along, and just give it a try. And because you fail in anywhere along the way, like you say, it's just a small bump of the road. You can't take it personally. It's not personal, really. You know, casting, the guys who sit on the other side of that table know what they want and need, and if you don't happen to be that person at this moment in time, that's not your fault. Just show up again tomorrow, or, you know, just keep showing up and doing it. And as long as you have the passion and you realize it is hard work. It's not like a lot of the celebrities you see today who come out very young and end up in multi-million-dollar operations. That's not the way that the theater profession has been built, and the talent, your development of your own talent is going to happen. You have to just keep at it, keep trying.
Great. Develop your skills, perseverance. Don't give up. Right. Keep going, and just keep pushing forward and increase your knowledge of your abilities and expand your knowledge into other areas so that you're a well-rounded, you know, individual too. Right. And learn the business, because for us as artists, I think it's always a little challenging to do the business, and I know myself because I do some business and I do the arts, and it is challenging for me to do both, because I want to get lost in the art part of it and not deal with the business part. And then when sometimes I get too much into the business and then I forget I'm not really focusing on the ability to do my craft, you know, which is practice. So. Well, it's been a joy to have you here, and I know we're going to have you back. And I would love to, do a series with some of the each one of the different theater groups. I'd love to invite them, and I'll do that through you. It would be nice to have you be part of that. To do a whole series and interview them here. Let me introduce them also to the community, even more than they're introduced already. But I'd love to do that.
Okay.
with your help.
We can work that, yeah.
And thank you again for being on the show.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
All right.
All right.
Again, this is the Sandy Kastel Show. We hope you enjoyed watching this show with Ralph Stalter, and I hope that you check out our local theater, because there's so many talented actors here in the Las Vegas area and so much theater going on that you really need to check it out. So we'll see you next time. Bye.